The stars had always seemed so peaceful from Earth. Sarah Chen stood at the window of the space station, watching the distant lights twinkle in the darkness. She never thought those same stars would bring death to her world. The alien ships appeared, without warning on a Tuesday morning. Massive vessels that blocked out the sun, hanging over major cities like dark clouds. The ships were beautiful in a terrible way. Their hulls gleamed with strange metals that seemed to shift colors in the light. But beauty meant nothing when those same ships carried weapons pointed at Earth. Sarah was Earth's best diplomat. She had spent years learning about other cultures, other ways of thinking, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Hegemony. They spoke through translators that turned their words into cold, mechanical voices. The leader was a creature called Vorthak Prime Commander Zektar. He stood 12 feet tall with 4 arms and skin like black stone. His eyes glowed red in the darkness of the meeting chamber. Behind him stood representatives of other alien races. The Zenith Collective looked like walking computers made of crystal and metal. The ancient Kithara floated in the air, their bodies hidden under flowing robes that seemed to move without wind. Humans of Earth, Zektar spoke, his voice echoing through the chamber. You are now part of the Galactic Hegemony. You will surrender your weapons. You will give us your resources. You will serve us as your betters command. Sarah felt her heart racing, but she kept her voice steady. And if we refuse? The alien's laugh sounded like grinding stone. Look at your primitive ships. Look at your simple weapons. You barely understand the stars above you. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. What can one small planet do against us? Sarah looked around the chamber. The walls were covered in symbols from dead civilizations, trophies from worlds that had fallen to the hegemony. She thought of Earth, of the children playing in parks, of the families eating dinner together, of the artists creating beauty, and the scientists reaching for the stars. We choose neither surrender nor destruction, she said clearly. We choose war. The silence that followed felt like standing in a graveyard. Then Zektar laughed again, louder this time. The other aliens joined in. Their laughter filled the chamber like the sound of breaking glass. War! Zektar wiped something that might have been tears from his glowing eyes. Little human, you amuse us. Very well. We will show you what war means. Consider this a lesson in reality. The meeting ended with Sarah being escorted back to her ship. As she traveled back to Earth, she sent a message to the world leaders. They have chosen to teach us about war, she said. I hope they are ready for the lesson they are about to receive. 3 days later, the aliens struck Luna City. Luna City was humanity's greatest achievement in space. Built inside the moon's surface, it housed over 2 million people, families, scientists, workers, children, people who had dreamed of living among the stars and had made that dream real. The attack came at noon, Earth time. The alien weapons turned the surface of the moon into glass. The city's protective domes cracked like eggshells. Air rushed out into space, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of 2 million souls. Sarah watched the attack from Earth. She stood in the emergency command center as reports came in. Numbers on screens that represented lives lost, mothers, fathers, children, all gone in minutes. It was a demonstration, the alien message said. A gentle correction. Surrender now, and no more of your kind need die. General Marcus Kane stood beside Sarah as they watched the rescue ships searching the ruins of Luna City. Kane was old for a soldier, his hair gray and his face marked by years of hard decisions. But his eyes burned with something Sarah had never seen before. Gentle correction, he repeated softly. They call the murder of 2 million people a gentle correction. Sarah nodded, unable to speak. On the screens, the rescue workers pulled bodies from the wreckage. So many bodies. Children who would never grow up. Scientists who would never make their discoveries. artists who would never create again. They wanted to show us the cost of defiance, Kane continued. His voice was quiet, but it carried through the entire room. Instead, they have shown us the price of their existence. The general walked to the center of the room. Every person there turned to look at him. Sarah saw something in their faces that she had never seen before. Not fear, not sadness, something darker. Something that made her think of old stories about sleeping giants and the terrible things that happened when they woke up. Send a message. To every human on Earth and in space, Kane said. Tell them what happened here. Tell them about Luna City. Tell them about the gentle correction. And tell them this. He paused, looking directly into the camera. The aliens wanted war. Now they will learn what war really means. The message went out across all human networks. Within hours, things began to change. Factories that had made toys started making weapons. Scientists who had studied peaceful things turned their minds to destruction. Artists painted images of vengeance. Musicians wrote songs of war. But the most important change was in the people themselves. Humans had always been different from other species, though they did not know it yet. They were not the strongest, or the fastest, or the smartest, but they were the only species that could love and hate with equal passion. The only species that could turn their greatest weakness into their greatest strength. The alien ships still hung in the sky, waiting for surrender. Their commanders were confident. They had seen this pattern before. A demonstration of power, a period of shock, then submission. It had worked on 1,000 worlds, but they had never encountered humans before. In the ruins of Luna City, rescue workers found a message scratched into a piece of metal. A child had written it with their last breath. "Remember us," Sarah read those words, and felt something break inside her chest. Not her heart. Something deeper. Something that had kept humanity peaceful for so long. She thought of all the alien worlds out there, full of creatures who had approved of Luna City's destruction, who had nodded when Zektar called it a gentle correction. "We will remember," she whispered to the empty air, "and we will make sure you never forget." The first human warships were already being built in secret facilities, not exploration vessels or trading ships. These were different. These were made for one purpose only. The aliens had asked for war, and humanity was going to give them exactly what they wanted. The age of human exploration was over. The age of human conquest was about to begin. And somewhere in the depths of space, alien sensors detected the first signs of what was coming. Ships moving faster than human ships should move. Weapons more powerful than human weapons should be. Technology that should not exist. The galactic hegemony had ruled for 10,000 years. They had destroyed 1,000 civilizations. They had never met their match, but they had never met humanity before. 6 months after Luna City died, the aliens began to realize they had made a mistake. Dr. Elena Vasquez worked in a laboratory that did not officially exist. Deep underground, hidden from alien sensors, she and her team did things that should have been impossible. On her desk sat pieces of alien technology taken from crashed scout ships. Next to them lay human devices that did the same job, but better. "The problem with ruling for 10,000 years," Elena said to her assistant, "is that you stop learning new things. You become lazy!" She picked up an alien weapon that could destroy a building. It was the size of a large rifle and took 5 minutes to charge between shots. Next to it lay a human weapon that could destroy a city block. It was smaller than a handgun and could fire continuously. "How?" her assistant asked. "How are we doing this?" Elena smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator showing its teeth. "Because they made us angry, and angry humans are the most dangerous thing in the universe." The aliens had expected humanity to surrender quickly. Instead, they found human ships appearing in places where no human ships should exist. The first attack came at Kepler Station, an alien outpost near Earth. The human fleet was small, only 12 ships against 200 alien vessels. Admiral Yuki Tanaka commanded the human fleet from her flagship, the Luna's Revenge. She was young for an admiral, but Luna City had made everyone grow up fast. She had lost her brother in the attack, and his death had taught her something important about the difference between war and murder. All ships, remember the plan? She said into her communicator. We are not here to win. We are here to learn. The battle was chaos. Human ships moved in ways that confused the aliens. They worked together like a pack of wolves, covering each other, striking weak points, disappearing when the enemy responded. When alien weapons locked onto them, they vanished behind stealth fields that should not have existed. The aliens had better shields, stronger weapons, more ships, but they fought like they always fought, following patterns that had worked for thousands of years. The humans fought like nothing the aliens had ever seen. Commander Zektar watched the battle from his command ship. His confidence began to crack, as human vessels slipped through his formations like ghosts. Impossible, he muttered. Their technology is primitive. Their ships are weak. But weak ships did not move like that. Primitive technology did not hide vessels from his best sensors. And no primitive species had ever captured one of his command vessels alive. The Luna's Revenge attached itself to Zektar's ship like a parasite. Human soldiers cut through the hull using tools that burned hotter than stars. They moved through, the alien ship wearing armor that turned them into living weapons. Zektar found himself face to face with Admiral Tanaka in his own command center. She was small compared to him, a human female who barely reached his chest. But when she looked at him, he felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. You killed my brother, she said simply. He was 8 years old. He liked to draw pictures of spaceships. Zektar tried to speak, but Tanaka continued. Before Luna City, humans studied war like scientists study insects. Something interesting, but not very important. You changed that. You made war personal. The human soldiers around her moved with perfect coordination. They had studied recordings of alien ship layouts, alien weapons, alien tactics. In 6 months, they had learned more about their enemies than most species learned in decades. You want to know our secret? Tanaka asked, as her soldiers placed restraints on the alien commander. We learn. We adapt. We never stop improving. And right now, we are learning everything there is to know about you. The Battle of Kepler Station ended with the human fleet disappearing as quickly as it had arrived. They left behind wreckage and confusion. More importantly, they left behind questions that the hegemony could not answer. In the underground laboratories, Elena and her team studied the captured alien technology. But they did not just copy it. They made it better. Alien power sources that lasted for centuries were improved to last for millennia. Alien weapons that could destroy buildings were modified to destroy continents. They think like engineers, Elena explained to General Kane. Everything has to be perfect before they use it. We think like mechanics. We make it work. Then we make it better while we use it. The difference was showing in space. Human ships appeared everywhere, attacking supply lines, destroying outposts, capturing alien personnel. Each battle taught them something new. Each victory made them stronger. But the most important changes were happening to humanity itself. Captain Rosa Martinez had been a freighter pilot before the war. She had spent her days moving cargo between planets, dreaming of adventure. Luna City had given her more adventure than she ever wanted. Now she commanded a ghost ship, one of the new stealth vessels that haunted alien nightmares. The bridge of her ship, the Silent Fury, was dark except for the glow of instruments. Her crew worked in whispers, moving through space like hunting. Cats. They had learned to think like their ship. Silent, deadly, patient. Contact, her sensor officer whispered. Alien supply convoy 3 light minutes ahead. Rosa studied the display. 12 cargo ships carrying weapons and food to alien forces, protected by 6 warships that outgunned her vessel 10-1. Before the war, she would have hidden until they passed. Now she smiled. All stations, prepare for attack. Remember, we are not just destroying supplies. We are sending a message. The attack lasted 7 minutes. The silent fury appeared behind the convoy like a ghost, destroyed half the ships before they knew she was there, then vanished back into space. The surviving aliens found their communication systems hacked, broadcasting a simple message in their own language. Luna City remembers. Similar messages appeared across alien space, on military frequencies, commercial networks, even personal communications. Always the same words, always in perfect alien language. Luna City remembers. The psychological effect was devastating. Alien soldiers began to question their mission. Why were they fighting creatures who seemed to appear from nowhere? Strikes. Without warning, then disappear like smoke? Why were these primitive humans so good at war? The answer was simple, though the aliens did not understand it yet. Humans were not naturally peaceful. They had learned to be peaceful through thousands of years of war. They knew what violence could do because they had done it to each other for millennia. They understood destruction because they had perfected it long before they reached the stars. Dr. James Foster led a team of specialists working on the most secret project of all. While Elena's team studied alien technology, James studied alien minds. He had captured communications from alien ships, recordings of alien conversations, examples of alien thinking. They are hive minds, he explained to his team. Not individuals, like us, but parts of larger systems. The Zenith Collective shares thoughts across thousands of light years. The Kithara have memories going back millions of years. The Vorthak follow orders without question. And that makes them weak? His assistant asked. James nodded. It makes them predictable. They think the same thoughts, make the same decisions, react the same way to the same situations. But humans? He gestured to his diverse team. We are chaos. We are unpredictable. Every human thinks differently, acts differently, fights differently. And that is our advantage. That is our weapon, James corrected. They cannot predict us because we cannot predict ourselves. Every battle teaches us something new, not just about them, but about what we can do. The war was changing humanity in ways that went beyond technology and tactics. Children born after Luna City grew up knowing that the universe was not a safe place. They learned mathematics by calculating missile trajectories. They learned history by studying famous battles. They learned art by designing new weapons. Humanity was becoming something new. Not the peaceful explorers they had dreamed of being, but something harder. Something that the galaxy had never seen before. And in the depths of space, alien commanders began to send worried messages to their leaders. The humans were not fighting like primitives anymore. They were fighting like something else, something that had learned war so well that they had turned it into art. The galactic hegemony had ruled, through fear for 10,000 years. Now, for the first time, they were the ones afraid. 2 years after Luna City, the aliens realized they were losing. The Hegemony Council met in emergency session on their capital world, Dominion Prime. The chamber was vast and dark, filled with the representatives of races that had ruled the galaxy for millennia. But for the first time in their long history, fear filled the room like poison gas. "Explain this," demanded Eternal Speaker Mordun of the Kithara. His ancient voice echoed through the chamber. "How do primitives destroy our fleets? How do they appear in our most protected systems?" Fleet Admiral Zektar stood before the council, his 4 arms trembling slightly. Half his face was scarred from his escape from human captivity. The other half showed shame that burned like acid. "They are not primitives," he said quietly. "We were wrong. They are something else, something we have never encountered." "Impossible," hissed Prime Node Zelnara of the Zenith Collective. Her crystal body flashed with angry light. "We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We have studied 1,000,000 species. Humans are carbon-based mammals with simple technology." "Then explain our losses," Zektar replied. He activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy. Red dots marked human victories. There were hundreds of them, spreading like a disease across hegemony space. "They learn," he continued. "Every battle teaches them something new. Every defeat makes them stronger. They study our tactics, our technology, our weaknesses. Then they use that knowledge against us." In the display, human ships moved like schools of fish, flowing around alien defenses, striking weak points, disappearing before counterattacks could reach them. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, but the real horror was not visible in the display. It was in the reports that came from every front. Human ships that should not exist. Human weapons that defied understanding. Human tactics that turned every advantage against itself. Captain Rosa Martinez watched the alien fortress from her hiding place behind a moon. The base was supposed to be invisible, protected by the best stealth technology the hegemony possessed. But human sensors had found it within hours. The Silent Fury was no longer alone. Around her floated 50 other ghost ships, each one a masterpiece of human engineering. They moved in perfect silence, communicating through quantum links that alien sensors could not detect. "Remember," Rosa said to her fleet, "we are not just destroying a base, we are destroying their confidence. When this is over, every alien in the galaxy should know that nowhere is safe." The attack began at midnight. Ship time. Human vessels appeared from every direction at once, moving through the alien defense grid like it did not exist. Their weapons, carved through shields that had protected the base for centuries. Their soldiers landed on the station wearing armor that turned them into walking nightmares. But this time, the humans did something different. They did not just destroy and leave. They stayed. They took control of the base's communication systems and sent a message to every corner of the galaxy. The message was simple. "We offered you peace. You chose war. Now learn what human war really means." The footage that followed showed human soldiers moving through the base like angels of death. They moved with perfect coordination, each one knowing exactly what the others would do. They used alien weapons better than the aliens who built them. They turned alien defenses against their creators, but the most terrifying thing was their faces. Cold, calculating, without mercy or hesitation. These were not the same humans who had begged for peace 2 years ago. These were something new, something that the galaxy had created by its own cruelty. The message ended with the base's destruction, not by human weapons, but by the base's own self-destruct system, triggered by human hackers who had learned alien codes in minutes rather than years. President David Kim received the hegemony's surrender offer 3 days later. He read it in his office, surrounded by advisors and generals. The offer was generous. Humanity would be given full membership in the hegemony. They would rule their own systems. They would be treated as equals. Kim laughed. It was not a sound of joy. It was the laugh of a man who had seen too much death to find humor in anything. "Equals?" he said to his advisors. "They killed our children, and now they want to be equals?" General Kane, older now and marked by 2 years of constant war, nodded grimly. "They still do not understand. This was never about territory or resources or power. This was about Luna City." Kim walked to the window of his office. Outside, he could see the construction yards where new warships took shape every day. Vessels designed not for exploration or defense, but for one purpose: the complete destruction of everything that had supported Luna City's murder. "Send them our reply," he said without turning around. "Tell them that we remember Luna City. Tell them that every alien world that supported our children's murder will burn. Tell them there are no equals in this war. only the living and the soon-to-be dead. The human war machine had become something beyond imagination. Factories that had once made civilian goods now produced instruments of death. Scientists who had studied peaceful mysteries now devoted their genius to destruction. Artists created propaganda that filled human hearts with cold fury. But the most remarkable change was in human tactics. Commander Liu Wei had pioneered the use of swarm technology, controlling thousands of small drones that moved like living clouds. Each drone was barely larger than a bird, but together they could strip a battleship to its frame in minutes. The aliens think big, Liu explained to his staff as they watched a swarm practice maneuver around a captured alien cruiser. Big ships, big weapons, big strategies. They cannot comprehend something small and coordinated. The drones moved like a murmuration of starlings, flowing around obstacles, finding weak points, exploiting every flaw in alien design. They communicated through quantum entanglement, making them impossible to jam or intercept. Each one carried just enough explosive to damage a critical system. "Launch the test," Liu ordered. The swarm fell on the alien cruiser like metallic rain. Within seconds, the ship's weapons were offline. Within minutes, its life support was failing. Within an hour, the vessel was a dead hulk drifting in space. Liu nodded with satisfaction. "Scale this up to 1,000,000 drones per fleet. Then we will see how the mighty hegemony deals with death by 1,000 cuts." But individual battles were becoming less important than the larger war. Humanity was not just fighting alien fleets. They were fighting alien morale, alien confidence, alien belief in their own superiority. Dr. James Foster's psychological warfare teams had learned to hack alien communication networks. They sent messages designed to break alien spirits, videos of human victories, recordings of alien commanders begging for mercy, proof that the invincible hegemony was neither invincible nor united. "Fear is a weapon," James explained to his team. "The aliens ruled through fear for 10,000 years. Now we turn that weapon against them." The messages were subtle at first, hints that human technology was beyond alien understanding, suggestions that surrender was the only logical choice, proof that resistance was futile. But as the war continued, the messages became more direct. Images of destroyed alien worlds, lists of dead alien soldiers, promises of what was coming for those who continued to resist. The psychological campaign was devastatingly effective. Alien morale collapsed across entire sectors. Some species began to question their alliance with the hegemony. Others started secret negotiations with human representatives. But the humans were no longer interested in negotiations. They had learned something important about themselves during the war. They were very good at hatred, better than they had ever been at peace. Admiral Tanaka commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled as it moved toward the Vorthak home system. 5,000 ships, each one a masterpiece of human engineering. Behind them came supply vessels, troop transports, and construction ships designed to build permanent bases in conquered territory. "Open a channel to the Vorthak homeworld," she ordered. The channel opened to show Vorthak Prime Commander Zektar, older now and marked by defeat. His red eyes no longer glowed with confidence. They burned with desperation. "Admiral Tanaka," he said formally, "I request parley. We can discuss terms." Tanaka smiled, and for a moment she looked like the young woman who had lost her brother at Luna City. Then the smile faded, replaced by something colder. "There are no terms," she said simply. "There is only justice. You killed our children. Now we will kill yours." The transmission ended. The human fleet moved toward the Vorthak homeworld like a tide of metal death. Behind them, the galaxy watched and learned what happened when you taught humans the meaning of war. The age of alien dominance was ending. The age of human vengeance had begun. 3 years after Luna City died, the Vorthak homeworld burned. Admiral Chen Wei stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the fires spread across the planet's surface. She was Sarah Chen's daughter, and she had been in Luna City when the aliens attacked. She had survived by hiding in a maintenance tunnel while her friends died around her. The memory of their screams had never left her. "Status report," she said calmly. "All major cities are burning," replied her tactical officer. "Their orbital defenses are destroyed. Their fleet is scattered. Resistance is minimal." Chen Wei nodded. The battle had lasted 6 hours. The Vorthak had fought with the desperation of a cornered animal. But desperation meant nothing against 3 years of human innovation. Their weapons could not penetrate human shields. Their tactics could not match human adaptability. Their courage could not overcome human hatred. "What about the civilians?" she asked. "Evacuation ships are fleeing the system. Should we pursue?" Chen Wei considered this. Before the war, she would have said yes, let them go. They were not soldiers. They were not responsible for Luna City. But 3 years of war had changed her. It had changed all of humanity. "Let them run," she decided. "But track them. I want to know where every survivor goes. Their children will grow up knowing that this is what happens when you kill human children." The Vorthak homeworld had been the military heart of the hegemony. Its destruction sent shockwaves across the galaxy. If the mighty Vorthak could fall, what hope did anyone else have? But the humans were not finished. They had learned something important during their war with the Vorthak. Total victory was not enough. They needed to make sure this could never happen again. Dr. James Foster's team had spent months studying captured Zenith collective technology. The Zenith were different from other aliens. They shared a collective consciousness that connected millions of minds across thousands of worlds. They thought as one, acted as one, existed as one. "It is their greatest strength," James explained to his team. "But it is also their greatest weakness." The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Instead of fighting the Zenith, humanity would become them. Human hackers would infiltrate their network. Human programs would spread through their shared consciousness. Human thoughts would become Zenith thoughts. The attack began on a Tuesday. To the Zenith, it felt like awakening from a dream into a nightmare. Their shared consciousness filled with alien thoughts, alien memories, alien purposes. They found themselves thinking human thoughts, feeling human emotions, understanding human pain. Prime Node. Zelnara felt it first. She was in her crystal palace, coordinating fleet movements across a dozen sectors when the foreign thoughts invaded her mind. Suddenly she could see Luna City as humans had seen it. She could feel the loss of 2 million innocent lives. She could understand what it meant to watch children die. "Stop it," she whispered to her subordinates. "Make it stop." But it was too late. The human virus had spread too far. Across the Zenith network, individual nodes began to disconnect from the collective. They could not bear the weight of human memory, human loss, human rage. Some Zenith tried to fight back. They attempted to purge the human influence from their systems, but the humans had learned too much about Zenith technology. Every attempt to remove the virus only made it stronger. Within hours, the Zenith Collective began to collapse. Not from outside attack, but from internal breakdown. The shared consciousness that had made them powerful turned into a weapon that destroyed them from within. Dr. Foster watched the collapse from his command center. Data streams showed Zenith systems failing across the galaxy. Their fleets stopped responding to orders. Their industrial worlds went silent. Their research stations transmitted nothing but static. "Is it working?" his assistant asked. "Better than we hoped," James replied. "They are not just losing their ability to fight. They are losing their ability to exist as a unified species." The psychological warfare had exceeded all expectations. The Zenith Collective, which had existed for millions of years, was tearing itself apart in a matter of days. Some nodes tried to maintain the old ways. Others embraced their new individuality. Most simply shut down, unable to cope with the change. But the most devastating effect was emotional. The Zenith had never experienced individual loss before. Now they understood what it meant to mourn, to grieve, to hate. They felt the weight of every world they had conquered, every species they had enslaved, every life they had destroyed. The guilt was unbearable. Across Zenith space, crystal beings who had lived for millennia simply stopped functioning. They could not bear the knowledge of what they had done. They could not face the understanding of what they had become. Within a week, the Zenith Collective ceased to exist as a political entity. Some worlds declared independence, others begged for human protection. A few tried to continue the war, but their hearts were no longer in it. But the most dramatic change came from the Kythera. The Kythera were the oldest species in the galaxy. They had watched civilizations rise and fall for millions of years. They had seen the birth of stars and the death of worlds. They considered themselves above the petty concerns of younger races. Eternal Speaker Mordun had lived for 3 million years. He had personally overseen the conquest of countless worlds. He had watched species go extinct without feeling anything more than scientific curiosity. But watching the human war machine destroy everything he had built filled him with something he had never experienced before: fear. The humans were not like other species the Kythera had encountered. Other races fought for territory, resources, or survival. The humans fought for something more dangerous: justice. They believed they were right, and that belief made them unstoppable. "We must negotiate," Mordun told the Emergency Council of surviving Kythera leaders. "The humans cannot be defeated by conventional means." "They are still primitives," argued another Eternal Speaker. "They have barely left their home system. How can they threaten us?" Mordun activated a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. Red markers indicated human-controlled systems. Blue showed remaining hegemony territory. The red was spreading like wildfire, consuming everything in its path. "Look at the pattern," he said. "They are not just conquering territory. They are eliminating entire species. The Vorthak homeworld is gone. The Zenith Collective has collapsed. They are conducting what they call total war." The other Kythera studied the display in silence. They had never seen anything like it. Even their own ancient conquests had been more civilized. They had preserved useful species, maintained stable governments, kept essential infrastructure intact. The humans destroyed everything. They turned conquered worlds into human colonies. They replaced alien cultures with human values. They rewrote history to remove all traces of their enemies. "What do they want?" asked another speaker. "Revenge," Mordun replied simply. "They want to make sure that Luna City never happens again. And they have decided that the only way to guarantee that is to remove every species that might threaten them." The surrender offer came 3 days later. It was delivered by President Kim himself, speaking from the ruins of the Hegemony Council chambers on Dominion Prime. The human leader sat in the chair that had once belonged to the Hegemony Supreme. "Commander, people of the galaxy," he began, his voice carrying to every inhabited world. "The war is over. The galactic hegemony is dead. In its place, we offer you a simple choice." He paused, looking directly into the camera. His eyes held no mercy, no forgiveness, no hope for negotiation. "You can serve humanity, or you can join the hegemony in extinction. There is no third option. There is no negotiation. There are no terms to discuss." The message continued with a list of requirements. All remaining alien fleets would surrender immediately. All weapons of mass destruction would be turned over to human forces. All industrial capacity would be placed under human supervision. "You have 48 hours to decide," Kim concluded. "After that, we will decide for you." The Kythera Council met in emergency session. Some argued for continued resistance. They were an ancient species with vast knowledge and powerful technology. Surely they could find a way to defeat these upstart humans. But Morden had studied the human war machine too carefully. He had seen what happened to species that resisted. He had watched the Vorthak homeworld burn. He had witnessed the Zenith Collective tear itself apart. "We surrender," he announced. The other Kythera stared at him in shock. In 3 million years of life, Morden had never surrendered to anyone. "You cannot be serious," one of them said. "We are the eldest species in the galaxy. We have knowledge that predates their entire civilization." "And what good is that knowledge if we are dead?" Morden replied. "The humans do not want our territory or our resources. They want us gone. All of us, every alien species that supported Luna City's destruction." He activated another display, this one showing human fleet movements. Massive armadas were moving toward every major alien system. Construction ships followed behind them, ready to build human colonies on the ruins of alien worlds. "They are not trying to conquer us," he said quietly. "They are trying to replace us. And they are succeeding." The formal surrender came 12 hours before the deadline. Across the galaxy, alien fleets powered down their weapons and transmitted. 5 years after Luna City, the galaxy was quiet. Admiral Yuki Tanaka stood on the observation deck of her flagship, looking out at the stars. She was older now, her hair gray, her face marked by years of war. But her eyes still burned with the same fire that had driven her through 5 years of conquest. The stars looked different now. Many of them shone on worlds that had been swept clean of their original inhabitants. Human colonies grew where alien cities had once stood. Human children played in parks built on the graves of alien civilizations. "Status report," she said to her aide. "All sectors report complete pacification," the young officer replied. "The last hegemony stronghold surrendered yesterday. There are no organized resistance movements remaining." Tanaka nodded. The war was over, but the work continued. Humanity had not just defeated the galactic hegemony. They had replaced it with something far more efficient. Something that would never allow another Luna City to happen. "What about the new contact in Sector 47? She asked. "A young civilization just beginning to explore space. They call themselves the Meridians. Initial scans suggest they are peaceful traders." Tanaka's expression did not change. Peaceful traders. That was what humanity had once been. It seemed like a lifetime ago. "Send them the standard message," she ordered. The message had been crafted by President Kim himself, with input from the best human psychologists and military strategists. It was simple, direct, and absolutely clear about the new reality of galactic politics. "Greetings, people of Meridia," the message began. "This galaxy is now under human protection. You have 2 choices. Join us as productive members of human space, or be removed as a potential threat. We recommend you choose wisely." The message included footage from the war, images of burning alien worlds, videos of surrendering fleets, testimonials from surviving alien leaders who explained why resistance was futile. But the most powerful part of the message was the end. A recording of Luna City before the attack, children playing in parks, families eating together, scientists working on projects that would have benefited the entire galaxy. Then came the footage of Luna City after the alien attack. The silence, the bodies, the ruins of human dreams. "This is what happens when you threaten human children," President Kim's voice said over the images. "This is why the galaxy now belongs to us. This is why you will obey or you will die." The Meridians surrendered within hours of receiving the message. Dr. Elena Vasquez worked in a laboratory that was no longer hidden underground. It was now a massive complex on the surface of Mars, visible from orbit as a testament to human achievement. She was designing the next generation of human starships, vessels that would carry human civilization to the far reaches of the galaxy. "The Meridian system has valuable mineral resources," her assistant reported. "Initial surveys suggest we could establish profitable mining operations within 6 months." Elena nodded absently. Her mind was focused on larger questions. Humanity now controlled most of the galaxy, but space was vast. There were other galaxies out there, other civilizations that might someday threaten human children. "Begin design work on intergalactic vessels," she ordered. "If there are threats beyond our galaxy, we need to be ready for them." The assistant looked surprised. "Intergalactic travel? The energy requirements would be enormous." So were the energy requirements for faster-than-light travel, Elena replied. "But we solved that problem when we needed to. Human necessity is the mother of all invention." She turned back to her work, but her thoughts remained on the future. Humanity had learned an important lesson from Luna City. The universe was not a safe place. It was full of creatures who would kill human children if given the chance. The only way to protect those children was to make sure no such creatures existed. Commander Liu Wei commanded the largest fleet in human history. 10,000 ships spread across 100 systems, watching for signs of resistance or rebellion. His drones were everywhere, invisible guardians that ensured alien compliance with human rule. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we are receiving a transmission from the Outer Rim, a group calling itself the Free Worlds Alliance. They claim to represent several species that escaped the war." Liu Wei studied the message with interest. So some aliens had managed to hide during the conquest. Some had fled to the dark spaces, between stars, hoping to rebuild their civilizations in secret. "What do they want?" he asked. "They are offering to negotiate. They say they had nothing to do with Luna City. They want to establish peaceful relations with humanity." Liu Wei laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "Peaceful relations. They still do not understand." He composed a reply personally. It was brief and to the point. "There are no peaceful relations with species that might someday threaten human children. There is only submission or extinction. You have 1 week to surrender unconditionally. After that, we will hunt you down and eliminate you like the vermin you are." The Free Worlds Alliance tried to resist. They had learned some lessons from watching the war, and they fought with desperation and cunning. But they had learned the wrong lessons. They thought the war had been about territory or politics or resources. They still did not understand that it had been about justice. Liu Wei's fleet found their hidden worlds within days. His drones infiltrated their defenses like ghosts. His soldiers moved through their cities like angels of death. Within weeks, the Free Worlds Alliance was nothing but debris floating in space, but Liu Wei was not satisfied with simple destruction. He had learned from Dr. Foster's psychological warfare techniques. He made sure that recordings of the Alliance's destruction were broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. "This is what happens to those who resist human rule," his message said. "This is what happens to those who threaten human peace. This is what happens to those who force us to remember Luna City." Dr. James Foster had become humanity's Minister of Alien Affairs. It was his job to oversee the integration of surviving alien species into human society. It was delicate work, requiring a careful balance of fear and hope. "The key," he explained, "to his staff is to make them grateful for human rule. They must understand that their survival depends entirely on human mercy." The process was working. Alien children grew up learning human history, human values, human language. They were taught that their ancestors had been criminals who had brought destruction upon themselves. They were taught that humanity had shown amazing mercy by allowing any aliens to survive at all. Adult aliens were more difficult to manage. Many remembered the old days when their species had been free. Some harbored dreams of rebellion or independence. These individuals required special attention. The dissidents in Sector 12 are organizing protests, his assistant reported. They claim that human rule is oppressive. James nodded. He had expected this. Some aliens would never accept the new reality. They would need to be dealt with appropriately. Send them to the education centers, he ordered. Show them the Luna City archives. Let them see what their species supported. Let them understand why human rule is necessary. The education centers were highly effective. Aliens who entered them as dissidents emerged as model citizens. They understood their place in the new galactic order. They understood why humanity could never allow another Luna City. But the most important development was happening on Earth itself. Sarah Chen, now elderly, stood in the memorial garden built on the site of Luna City. 2 million names were carved into black stone, representing every person who had died in the alien attack. The garden was beautiful and peaceful, a place for reflection and remembrance. But it was also something else. It was a promise. Children came to the memorial on school trips. They learned about Luna City, about the price of peace, about the necessity of strength. They learned that humanity had tried to be peaceful once, and that aliens had murdered them for it. They learned that such mercy could never be shown again. President Kim, re-elected for the 4th time, gave his annual address to the nation from the memorial garden. He was older now, his hair white, his face lined with the weight of leadership. But his voice still carried the authority of the man who had rebuilt human civilization on a foundation of alien ashes. Fellow humans, he began, we gather here to remember Luna City, to remember the price of weakness, to remember why we can never again allow our guard to down. He gestured to the names carved in stone. These people died because we believed the universe was a safe place. They died because we thought other species would respect our peaceful intentions. They died because we were naive enough to trust aliens with our children's lives. The crowd listened in respectful silence. Most of them had been born after Luna City, but they all knew the story. It was taught in every school, discussed in every home, remembered in every heart. We learned from their sacrifice, Kim continued. We learned that peace is not a gift to be received, but a condition to be enforced. We learned that safety cannot be negotiated, but must be imposed. We learned that the only way to protect human children is to make sure no one else has the power to threaten them. He paused, looking out at the faces in the crowd. Young and old, military and civilian, all united by the memory of Luna City and the determination that it would never happen again. Today, the galaxy is at peace. Not because aliens have chosen peace, but